Great. So I have my Visual Studio open for me. Then today I want us to take our procedure from a different perspective, right? And you can unmute yourself. If where you are there is no noise, kindly unmute yourself and let's have a quick discussion. Because learning is supposed to be a two-way interaction, not just. When you're coming to build an app, we've already had interaction with what do you call it? With chat apps. We all use WhatsApp. We all use Facebook. We all use Instagram, Twitter, and all of these platforms have messaging features, all right? And you have to plan because asked the question I think yesterday about how you go about when you're coming to build something, all right? So coming to build, just a second. Let me grab a pen. All right, I think I have a pen. I have a pen close. So when you're coming to build a chat system, definitely you would know that just like we saw the demo, for somebody to be able to access their details. Are you guys hearing me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. For somebody to be able to access their personal details for authentication purposes, they first of all have to register. All right. So we'll be taking some notes. They first of all have to register. And then when they register on the app, so to register, it means we have to take some registration details. So we are going to first of all design what a registration page. All right. Then we'll design a login page as well. So login. Then we are also going to have the list of what users. All right. So the users page where we're gonna have all the users that are available on the platform. Then also we're going to have a chat page, right? A page where um, the messages we're gonna send and receive messages. So basically, these are the four main pages that are required. There is a profile pages, but those are secondary. What we want to work on right now is the chat features, being able to register, login, uh, see a user, and then select that particular user. Then you be taken to the chat page. Then you can now chat with all the users. All right. So that's what we're gonna do. And so let me go into my project folder and begin to get my layer, everything going. So first of all, I'm going to have my index.html. All right, so that's going to be over there. Then I'm going to have my folder. Sorry, I'll have my assets folder. Then inside my assets folder, I'm going to have style. All right. Then inside my assets folder again, I'm going to have a script. All right, and we'll come back to scripts when we get a JavaScript. For now, you're gonna be working with this, and then what do you call it? Uh, the HTML files, and then CSS. All right. So inside my CSS, I'm gonna create a file and call it main.css. And then back here, that the index is gonna be the main page where the users are gonna be directed to. Uh, then we are gonna have the uh, login page. All right. So let's make the index page for registration purposes. And then, no, the index page is going to be the main page where they're going to see the users and then select a user to chat. Then we are going to come with what? A login page. So we say login.html. And you're going to understand what I want us to achieve is that when the user comes onto the website, they should first of all uh, see the index page, all right? That is, let me go to the chat application again. Let me go to login. Uh, all right, so when they come, they should first of all land on this page where they want to select, they can select a user to chat. And so this is going to be our index file for us. However, when you get to PHP, you're going to be doing some authentication works. so that if the user comes back, let's say I come onto this page, right, and I am not logged in, I'll be directed to the login page. So we're gonna implement the same feature. So first of all, let's go ahead. All right, and I'm going to create. Let me start my live server. Let me go live, and we'll be using Font Awesome. All right. So let me just come back to Font Awesome CDN. Right, nothing is showing yet. So CDN. Then I would also go to fonts.google.com, and I'm gonna pick a font which I love very much. I call it the Outfit, and let me remove these, and let me go to Browse Fonts and select Outfit. Let me search for Outfit, and that's Outfit for us. So I just come to Get Fonts, go to Embed Fonts, then I'll come back and go to the import, and then I'll copy this. All right, and back in my CSS, I'm going to import my Google font. Then I'll now copy this. All right, and then I'm going to perform a basic CSS reset. And I think I have a plugin which does this basic reset for me. So let me just go to font family, and gonna paste this. Then font size, I'll do it 1 rem for everything. Then what happens here is I'm now selecting the body. Then you remember that inputs, elements, and then the button, they don't inherit fonts from the body. So we have also selected them. That way, this is going to be applied here. Font size and the font family is going to be applied to them as well. And then you know that under normal circumstances or by default, when you hover over the button, you don't have the finger icon or you don't have the pointer icon showing over there. So we have done this. So this is like a basic CSS reset which you can use. Let me take this out. Then we can maybe give a general background to our body, then give a color, but I don't want us to do that yet. All right, so I have this running for me. Let me push this here, and my index. Let me just put that a boilerplate over there. Then go to, let me just say users. All right, let me close that because we're not going to be working on index. Let's first of all work on the login page, and then I'll have to give it a title. Say login to start. Chatting. All right. I have a spell check plugin which I think it's getting things wrong for me over here. Let me just ignore that, close the file tree, and then come back here and close this because I've got you already. Then go back and pick the font out from CDN from CDN.js, and then I'll copy the URL, and then come back here and I'm importing that as well. Oh, sorry, I've only copied the link, so let me call my media query at import. Then I'll put this over here, close this terminal. Then I will now come back here, close this, and then while we were trying to convert make our website responsive yesterday, you realize that we ran through a few challenges because we decided to finish with everything. Under normal circumstances, you may not get to face that challenge, but because we now forget some of the styles we applied when we come back, we don't know what really to override, right? So to this project, we're supposed to, when you're working, we go ahead and then what do we do? We will, what do I have to say? We're supposed to work across devices, right? So when we build a particular section, we're supposed to go ahead and build the desktop. Sorry, make it responsive so that we test it on mobile and on tablet and make sure everything is working well before we go. However, when you look at the preview which we've seen, it's just that small, right? And so we don't need to the chat area is just small, so we wouldn't be using media queries to make anything responsive for now. When it gets to that particular point where we have to what do you call it, use a media query, we'll use it, but then it's not going to be to make it responsive, because I just wanted to, we are going to design it small to fit onto mobile phone at the same time. And so that is the end goal. So back here, then I'll come back and say I'm going to give my section, right, section, then give it a class of wrapper. All right. Then inside my section, let me go back here, let me log out, and then we are on the login page. So we're gonna have our title. All right. So I'll have h1 rank dot what title, and then we say okay, real time chat app. All right. And let's get to see what we're doing. Okay, let me now. Oh, sorry. Back here, I have to navigate to the login.html. All right, and that goes here. So I can now close my poetry. Let me close this. Back in my CSS, I styling is not being applied to it, so I'll go back to login, and then let me now include. Let me just do this. Let me deactivate this plugin for now. Disable. Check this out. Let me link to my CSS, right? And then I'll have to navigate into my folder. So I'll go to assets slash styles slash main.css. And now we can see everything happening, all right? So we can now come back, and then we will now bring our form, and then our reaction, I'm going to put hash, and then our method, I'm going to put post. I back in my form, I'm going to have an input, right? And gonna have an input and type equals text. We're working on the login, right? So type equals text. Then sorry, so type is supposed to be email. Then placeholder supposed to be example at mail.com. Then we'll come back and say input type equals password. All right. Then placeholder, it should what, enter password. Then we have that over there. Then we are now going to bring our button. Then says what, login. All right, and we'll be using some font or some icons. So uh, let me search for uh, is it there is a login. All right, so we have let me use this for login. So I got, then I have my icon on my login button over there. So let me close this for now. Then I believe that's all I'm going to be needing for my login screen. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to my style, then I'll just say dot wrapper, then I'm gonna give it a width of 300 pixels. All right, then I'll give my, first of all, on my body, let me select my body alone over here, and then I'll give the body a display of grid, and then a place content of center, right? So everything gets centered. Then also I'll give my body a height of 100 viewport heights. Right, so that we can have everything centered right in the middle. We have everything right in the middle for us. So with our wrapper, giving it a height, I'm not going to give it a fixed height. I want it to expand based on the elements. Then I'll give it a padding of 30 pixels. All right. Then I'll now give it a box shadow. We haven't done with box shadow, so let me give this a 5 pixels, 5 pixels, 5 pixels, and 5 pixels. Then let me give it a hash 33, and we have a very thick border. Right, so let me make this 0. All right, then I give this a 0 as well. All right, so that let's maintain the blur. So I have a 0. Great, so I have 0, 0, and 5, 5 pixels. And now this is too thick, so let me bring this down a little bit. Great, I have some nice box shadow. Then I'll give it a border radius as well. Border radius of 20 pixels. Let me see how that looks. And that doesn't look bad. Alright, so we now come back and select our next item and say H1. So the title. Then we can say font size of 1.125. Right. Oh no, sorry. Let's say 2.2. And you know what? Let's maintain the default font size. Let's just give it a margin bottom of 10 pixels. All right, and that looks great. Then next thing we're gonna look at is we're going to our form, right? And then we're gonna say that inputs. Now we're gonna start all our inputs. Then we'll say width should be 100%. It should take out the spaces. Then I'll give them a padding of 15 pixels. Let me see how that turns out. That seems to be a padding of 10 should do. Alright, padding of 10 in border radius, sorry. Border radius of 15 pixels. Let me see how that turns. That's too much. 10 should work out for us, alright. Then I'll give a border of 1px, solid hash 33. And then also I'll give them an margin bottom of 20 pixels for each of them. And title, I'll come back and do a little something later to the title. But the margin of 10 should be, margin bottom of 10 should be okay. And then I will come back here. Uh, Where's my title? Let me make it 30 pixels, right? Then I'll give it a padding of let me give it 5 pixels. And I want to be saving so we see what's happening. Then I'll give it a border right, sorry, border left of 5px solid. sorry, 3 3, and I believe this looks great, not bad. Let me give padding top and bottom of 0.5 pixels, right? So this looks a lot better for me now. And then next, let me go back and style my button, right? And now let me give it a class of class of btn. And the reason I'm doing that is I want to style this particular button. We'll be using other buttons, but then they are going to have a different style. So we'll now come here and say that the button and say our width of 100%. All right, and border none, padding of 15 px, and then I'll give it a background color of hash 33. Right, this doesn't look bad. Then the border radius of 15 pixels. Then a color of what you call it, white. So we have this looking at nice. So I believe our login page looks good. And then the next thing we're gonna work on is our registration page. All right, and whatever we have done so far. So let me just duplicate the login page. All right, and then I'm gonna rename it register. And then on our registration page, you're gonna have a lot more inputs because we're gonna have input type equals what text. Then we'll have a placeholder which we'll call it what full name. All right, then let me make sure we are navigated to registration page. And one thing I could do to my button is give it a margin top until of 10 shouldn't be bad. Hmm. Oh, alright, so that is not bad at all. Then one thing we could also do to our inputs is say inputs focus border color. Then let's say we want to introduce some nice. Let me see if I could introduce some nice color for our chat app. All right, so that when this is focused. So let me now do let me use some variables so that if the colors I'm beginning to use don't look good, I can just go back on them. All right, so I'll just call this and say that's color main, and we can give it a this color doesn't look bad. Let me try and get something in between. All right, so I can say color light, and I pick a lighter version of that same color. Then I could say black, and then have our 333. Then I could say white and say FFF. All right, so I think we're good for now. Uh, right? So where we have our title, the border, I could just save. Sorry guys. So we have some nice styling instead of the pure black and white. Then we could input when it is focused. Then we want to give a color this. Let me say right, so that when it is focused, we could see and make it 2px solid, so we can actually see the effect. Let me just make it the border color, and we're good to go. Then my button, I could give it a button color of let me use our main. So we have our button looking a lot better for us over here now. And the same thing is going to happen when we go back to the login. We have everything over there. Nice. Great. All right. So for the next one, we're going to do anything. The next one we're going to, the next page we're going to work on now is our users page. So we have we're now done with our login page. We're done with our registration page as well. All right. So let's now go to the next page, which is our users page, and that is going to be the index page. All right. So let's now go back. Let me bring my wrapper section because we'll be using it everywhere. Index. Great. Then I can now close my section over here. Great. Now, add the link to my CSS, right? Assets slash styles slash name plus CSS. Great. So first of all, let's now go there. Then let me add another div, and then let me call that header. And it's not like a normal header. We're just gonna put our content over there, right? So I'm gonna have an image, all right, and then let me take off the alt attribute. Then I'll give it a class of profile photo. Then let me come back to better placeholder, and I want to pick something which is 50 by 50. All right, copy image URL and put this here, back here, and I can now save. So I have my image over there. And then here now I could now have an h2, and then let me make it a paragraph. P dot username. All right, so I could say Jamie Kruger. All right, so we have that showing over here. Then at the very bottom of that, I would let me say I'm gonna have a list, right? So I have another div and call what that user list. Oh no, that is this. I was actually doing a different thing. Uh, this is not what I want to do for now. And inside my header, I'll call this users header. All right, and inside the users header, so I'm gonna have username. Let me make that. All right, so username, and that's gonna be the user over here. It's gonna show, and then we're gonna have a button. All right, so this button is gonna be a link dot button. Then I'll call that hash. All right, then I'll say logout, logout, and then back to my. I had this far right to bracket. Let me now take it back here and sorry, I dot. Then I do this. Then so the right from right. So now I have my logout. Then back in my name, I'm gonna say dot button I. Then I'll give the margin left of 20, 10 pixels. I think that looks great. And then also I'm gonna, because this is a link, you realize that it's covering the text that came before it. So I'll give it a display of inline block. All right, so it's now becoming it's now full width, and I'll take care of that in a moment. All right, because I've given a width of 100%, so that is why this is happening. Then I could come here and say button, or not even here, but at the top I have a button declared. I'll give the width to that, so that when I go back to the registration, I could have those ones 100 pixels, but these should be this short for me. Then also another thing I can do is add under my button. I'll give a text declaration of none. So I have a text declaration of none, just to take that underline off. And then if we're done with the user list, then oh, not done. Here I can now pick the users. All right, and I will come back to my CSS. So I'll say that users dot header, and I could say display of flex. All right, then I would say justify content space between. Then I could say that align item center, and I have this showing like this for me. What I could actually do is increase the width of my wrapper. Let me make it 400 and see. Right, we still have it good, and so I'll stick with. Let me see if 350 would be okay. Right, 350. Let's stick to 400, and then users header. I'll give it a border bottom of 1px solid, and let me say var, and I'll use my black. Then padding bottom of 10 pixels. Right, so this also looks great. Then I would now come back and say that users, let me just use a hyphen because I wouldn't be needing that particular class. Okay, users header. So I could now say that users header, the username, and then I'll give it a font size of 2 rem. Right, then the font weight of let me see 600. Let me just make this 1.5 rem. Right, so this looks a lot better. Then back here we're done with users, right? Header. So I'll now say users list, right? And around that single user, let me say that user. Then I'm gonna have an image that word user photo, right? And then that is where I'm gonna bring in this URL. So I'll bring this here, and let me take the alt attribute off, right? So I have a user photo showing there for me. Then aside that, I'm going to bring another div, right? Then say user detail, and on the inside the user detail, I'm gonna have a p and call it user dash name. And now you should be careful you don't confuse the username with the user dash name. The username is the name of the user. So let me just make this own name. So that is you, the user, that's your name. Then let me go back to the CSS and call this own name. So that goes for it. So username is the other users you're going to be seeing on the platform. Then also I'll bring something here and call that right then I'll bring p and call that last chat, right? Then I'm going to uh, put in a name here and say what Daniel Kofi, right? So that's the name of a user. Then how are you doing? Right, so you're gonna have that chat over there. And then I'm going back here and I'm going to add. Let me see if I can get a font for this one. And let me say for a dot icon. This is a pro icon. You wouldn't be able to use it. Let me look for free free dot icon. All right, so we have the free dot icon over here, and I'm gonna put that here. Then I'm going to give it another class of what status, and that is going to let us know if the user is online or not. And have this here. Let me go back and close this and go back here. Right, so we have that. So status online, and I would just have that over there, right? So I'm now gonna pick this users list, and I'll come back and say the users list, and then I'll give it a margin top of 20 pixels. Sorry, margin top of 20 pixels. Then alright, that's what I have over there. Then inside that, I'm gonna pick what user, and then I'll give it a display of flex user, and I'll give it a display of flex. All right. display of flags. So we have that over there. Then I'll just say, let me see this. So user photo. I have user photo. I'll give it a border radius of 50% to make it perfect circle. And I'll give it a width of 50 pixels. I want the height to be 50 pixels, so I would say aspect ratio of 1. And I don't know why this is getting squeezed. Uh, Justify content, space between. Alright, so I have to give it an align items of center. Then I can now get rid of this. Let me not make this for now. Let me have this there. Then let me give this a gap of 20 pixels. That looks great. Then I'm going back to select the user detail itself. So with the user detail, then I'll say display of flex as well. Alright, so I'm gonna have this over here. And no, this is not supposed. This is supposed to be outside. This. Right, so this is so we have 1, 2, 3, and so user details not supposed to display of flex. No. Right, so this is how I want to be. So I'll give it a flex grow of 1. So it's going to take up all the available space that is for this particular one. Then I could go to user detail, and under user detail I have what user dash name. Right, so that username. Then I could say I'll give it a font size of 1.10 to 5 rem. Right, then I'll give it a font weight of 600. All right, that looks a little thick. And then I could now go back and then select the last chart. And I believe you guys can see where we are driving towards. Then last chart, and then I would give it a font style, and I could give it a value of public. All right, so I could have no. Let me make it italics. I don't want it bold. Oh no, great. So I have this here. That's why I was working. Then I could. Then also back on my body, another thing I could do is uh, give a color. All right, so var black for my text colors. All right, I think that is okay. A gap of 20 pixels over here. I believe that is too much. Let me make it 10 and see. All right, 10 looks great. 10 isn't that bad. Then yeah, I believe this is okay for now. Then I would now. What I want to do is this is going to be a preview of the last message I was sent. All right. So what we can do is last chat. Then I'll give it a width of 100%. Then I'll give this an overflow of hidden. What I'm trying to do is when the last chat is long, right? Hey Jamie, uh, been a long time. How are you doing? So that's a very long chat and it's even breaking. So I could just come and give it a width of 100%, a max width of 100%. Then I could, no, width of 100% is by third default. Then I could, what I could do is give it a white space of what? No wrap. Then this is supposed to go. Then overflow. Ellipsis. Let me see. Let me go to Google and see how to limit text character to one line with ellipsis. Let me see. Max character length. Let me check use on Stack Overflow. Alright. So white space, no wrap, overflow, hidden text, overflow, ellipsis. Alright. So it's a text overflow of ellipsis. Did I spell that right? And let me see if max width is 100%. Well, this is not happening. Let me look at that very well. White space no wrap, max width is 50 pixels. Let me say max width. Let me make that 50 characters. I don't know if this is gonna work for me. Wow, 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 wow. And let me see. I think there are a few more properties which we should be clear on the pairing. Pairing has yeah. Somebody has a hand up. They say, "Oh, the overflow was set to hidden. Can you try that overflow hidden for the user detail?" Yeah, it's supposed to be hidden for the parent, and the parent is supposed to be hidden. If it's not hidden, this is going to show. But the max width is let me see. Text overflow. Let me see what MDN gives to us. Right, so this is what I want us to achieve. So text overflow ellipsis. Yeah, we have a text overflow of ellipsis. So overflow is hidden. got this. Well, I'll come back. We'll figure that out in a moment. Let's continue to enhance this. Let's make it here. Then back here. Then the next thing we should work on is status online. Then I'll come back here and say dot status dot online. Then let's give it a color of green. Alright, let me make it a. This looks a lot more green for us. Then let's now change this and say status dot offline. Now let's make these colors so that when our status is offline, this is how it's going to show. And we'll deal with that in what do you call it? PHP will take care of this for us, whether the person is online or offline. I'll come back to working on the the chat to limit it. Then I will come back to I think now that is it. So for the single user, where do I have the single user? I'll give it a border bottom of 1px gray. I want it to be a very light color. All right, then a padding bottom of 10 pixels as well. That looks great. So let me just come back here and great. So we have our users. Then also another thing would be to give it a margin top empty of 10 pixels. Should look good. And then when we come back here, this particular div where we have what div class of users list. Here we can now say overflow of what auto, and it's going to let me give it a height of 500 pixels. Let me say 200 pixels, right? Great. So that when the content is more than the box, we can have it scroll, right? So I'll give it a max height of let me make it 350 50 pixels. So in this instance, we are not seeing um, a scroll because the users fits in there perfectly. And then what we can also do is come back to the user where we have this. All right. Then I can bring the not pseudo class. Then I'll say another not last child. Okay, that is affecting everything, all the stuff. So let me just bring this here and then we'll do it this way instead. Last child border is none, so that we don't have the border bottom for the very last item that is showing over there. And I believe we're good for now, right? Then with the user list, let me duplicate the users a lot more. Now we have the scroll, so let's try and hide the scroll bar users list. So we can say that our users, sorry, WebKit scroll bar. Then we could give it a width or a display of none, and it's not going to show but then it's going to, what do you call it, work for us. The scroll is still going to work for us. Then we could add some. I think we're good for now for the users page. Then so anyone who's online is going to show that screen for us. So let's just keep this way. So we have a list of users. Then one thing which almost skipped me is this user should be clickable. This should be clickable. So the user should be able to click. Then it should take them to the particular user's page, right? So I'm now going to wrap everything here into what, an anchor tag, so that everything here becomes what, clickable. Then I could just come to the top of my, where do I come? Say users list. Right, so I was working right. So the users list A, I'll give it a CD none. Then color is going to be var and black. Everything should stay default for us. Alright, so I'm now coming to delete everything I have here. I have just one user for now. And I'll pick this and three more users so I can click on them now. And that's what we're going to be doing over here. Then we'll move on to the very next feature, which is going to be the chat. All right. So we have index, we have login, we have register. Right. So one, two, three, four. Then the next thing we're going to look at is the chat. So the chat.html. Then I'll do this and say chat with Mike, right? Then I'll do this, then come back, link it to my CSS assets and styles and name, and we're good to go. And I would now have to 0.57. Then I would now bring my section with class of wrapper. Right, so we have it in the middle over there. Then we can now have div dot what, chat header, right? And inside the div dot chat header, we're going to have another image. And then I'm going to put my this here for now. Then I'll come back and call, let me see, I had the class of a user photo over here. So let me apply the same class to the chat, and let's see the outcome. Alright, so everything should be that. Then right here, I'll give an h3 and give it a name, Daniel Kruger. Right, so that's the chat with Daniel Kruger, and those are just placeholders I'm putting over there, so we'll take care of everything. Then also we're gonna go back to font awesome and then call this. I'm gonna look for caret right, caret left, chevron. Sorry, chevron left, and come back here, and then I'll call that. I'll give it another class of back button. All right, so we're done with this now. Then I would have to call this and say chat. Let me call have another div and say chat, uh, chat area, and then inside my chat area. Before let me come back and style this. So I have back. Let me see chat header. So the chat header, we give it a display of flex and great. We give it an align item of center, and then right. So we're good to go for now. A gap of 10 pixels shouldn't be bad at all. Great. Then back here we have plus username. So I could just say that um, chat header. I'm gonna clear everything here. But user name. We'll give it a font size of 2 rem. Wait, what's happening? 3 rem. Have this. Given a class of username. So chat header. Really? Okay, okay. I was declaring a wrong property. It should be font size, not font style, and that was too much. 1.125, 1.85. Alright, so that looks a lot better. Then I could just say chat header, then I give it a padding bottom of 10 pixels, then I give it a border bottom of 1 px solid and black. Right, and that's also okay. Then what I can do is come back where, come back where. Alright, so let me select back button. So I could say that block back button, and I'm gonna give it a cursor, make it pointer, so that we can it appears to be clickable. Let me give it some padding. Padding of 5px. I believe this looks a lot better. Um, Great. So now let's get to where we do the real magic. Now we're gonna have our chat area, and then inside our chat area, I'm gonna have a div. Then call it let me just make it a class for now. Then inside that div, I'm going to have what do you call it? Div class of single chat. Then inside that I'll have a p class of what chat bubble. Then hey Jamie, how are you doing? It's like, how are you doing? I'm gonna leave that there for now. And chat bubble outgoing, right? Then I would also have what do you call it, a chat bubble incoming. All right. So now let me now go back and say that a single wait my chat area. All right, let me leave that for now. Single chat, and let me give it a display of. Let me not give it a display of. The chat the chat bubble. Let me work on the chat bubble. Let me give it a padding of 5 pixels. Right. Then let me give this a background color of May. All right, and let me give this a color of white, and let me make this going. So I work on this alone. Then I would, what do I do again? What do I do again? I'm gonna give it a border radius of 10 pixels. Right, a border radius of 10 pixels, and then the chart area. I'll give it an empty of 10. I can have this over here. Then I'll give this display. Mhm. Great. So I'm changing this. I'm making giving a display of inline, and then also let me come back here. How are you doing? We have been waiting. Just wanna see if the message is long. What is gonna happen? Not a display of inline. Sorry. I'm supposed to give it a max width. Max width. Max width of let's say 60%. So that all right. So we have got to figure out a way to work on this. But let me increase the padding for now. The padding of 10 pixels, and then let me give it a so single chat. I have the single chat for that. One of them just here that single chat, and then I have this so this display of flex. Great, and I would come back here and say justify self and Great. So margin left of auto does the magic for us. It takes it to the very right. Then on here on our incoming, we've got that. So when I have a lot of this here, so I can now give my max width of 60%. And then when the text is plenty, I'm going to have it show here like that. Then also, if there should be a word that is long, we're gonna have something like this. Alright, so we could just have another property. Is it a text, text wrap, and still not working. Let me see. Let me try and get text wrap properly. So I think we're gonna use I'm not getting it wrap along single word. So word wrap break word. That's the property. And let's see if we are on course. Great. So the word will break. And let me change the border radius to 15 pixel so that it looks that great for us. Then I'll change margin right and give it a 10 pixels. Let's see, right, margin right test. So I'm coming to do something that you say chart and after, then I'll give it a content of empty, then maybe therefore give it a display of absolute, sorry, a position of absolute. Then I'll come back here and give this a position of relative, and then I'll give this a width of 0. Then I'll give it a height of, let me say, aspect ratio of 1, because I want the height to be 0 as well. And I may have to change the figures. Then I'll give it a border of border top 3px solid red. I'm trying to do something yellow. All right, so give this is 15 pixels for the border radius. So top is 0, and let me give it left of 0 as well. Left of 0, sorry, right. Then let me make it minus 8 pixels. Great, and we have it showing here like this. So I'm gonna make this transparent. Then I'm gonna make black. I'm gonna make it black. Then I'm gonna make it blue, transparent. And we don't even need the left. Simply do. Then I'll make this inherit. Sorry. Uh, main. Great. So we have this showing nicely for us. So let me now go back and remove this. So all this time I spent, I was just designing the chat bubble. Hey, how are you? So we have our chat bubble. Then let me make this border radius. Let me make it 13. So I think it blends fine into it. Then I'm going back to copy all of this for my outgoing. Then for the outgoing, sorry, now I'm gonna make it incoming, and the incoming is going to have a margin right of auto, then margin left of 10 pixels because it has to be on the opposite side, and of course each single chart will have a margin bottom of 10 pixels, so that is going to show over there. Then this one should have a shouldn't have a curve dark. Let me see if I have another variable declared. Let me have a gray. Then let me have something. All right, so I could now say that gray. Then the color is now going to be black, right? So that it can be seen very well. Or let me say, let me make the color main, where it can be seen very well. And even with the background, I could just say light, all right? And then let me make my light color a lot more light, so we can have a beautiful, balance between the two. Then I'll come back and copy this, and then make this incoming. Then make a few changes. All right, so this is now going to be left. Then the color is going to be light. All right, then I think let me get right. I don't understand why the right was really necessary over here. All right, so we have this here and we have this here, and I believe we let me come back here. Alright, so that also goes there for us, so we can have our chat. So let me just go back. Then now I can now copy my. So we have the chat area. So we have a single chat. Let me make some few duplicates so we can have our charts going. And then let me come back and select my chart area. And one thing which almost keep me is let me come back. All right. And with my chart area, I'm gonna give it a fixed height. Chart area, I'll give it a height of 500 pixels. I think that is too much. 350, about 350. Let me make it 400. All right, so for 450 should be good. Okay, 450. And then for my chart area, this is the chart area. I'm gonna pick this for now and call okay, bring another div and call it charts. All right, and put the messages in there. Then after the charts, I'm gonna have what typing area. It almost skipped me. Then for my charts, I'll come back and select my charts. All right, let me bring that over here. My charts, and then I'll give it that should have the fixed height. Then I'll give it an overflow of auto. Then I would have to hide. Sorry. So WebKit scroll bar. So the WebKit scroll bar is another pseudo element which we use to style the scroll bar. All right. So I could say display of none. Then when our chart is plenty, and we have lots of charts, it's now going to what do you call it? It's now going to scroll, right? Then we can now come back and say, wait, something is wrong. Sorry, not button. Great, so it shouldn't show, but then the functionality should be there. And I believe we're through with that one. Then let's now move on to our typing area. And inside our typing area, we're gonna have our input box and then the button, right? So I'll have a form action. Let me make it an hash, right? And inside our form, I'm first of all going to bring out an input, and then input type of what of text, and that is going to show over here. Then input type of text, and then the placeholder is what start typing. Alright, so we have something inside like that. Then it could also have button. Alright, then we're gonna style it. Gonna let me go to font awesome and search for send. Alright, so let's click this. Why are all these are pro icons? Let me pick this and then put this over here. Alright, so I just want to be able to see this because this widget is causing problems. It's been causing problems for some time now. But no matter what, we're going to get going regardless. All right. So in my typing area, let me just come back here and then say dot typing area. I'll give it a padding of 5 pixels. All right. Then let me select the typing area input. Then I would say border radius, and it's going to have 15 px 0 0 15 px, and we have this showing like that. Then I'll come back here and say button. Then we're not gonna have border radius of 0 15 px 15 px 0. That is going to show like this. And then I'll come back and say typing area form display flex. So I have my items already showing here for me. And then with this button, I'm gonna add an outline of none. Oh, sorry, border. I'm gonna add a border. I'm gonna have a border of none, and then a width of 50 pixels. Then with the input, I'll give it a height of let me say 40 pixels. Then the button should also have the same height of 40 pixels. Then I'll give this a background color of main, and then a color of we have white. Alright, so we have this. We can now click on it to send our message. We have this over here, and I don't know what I did. Let me come back to my chat area. Well, I missed something somewhere. Let me now go to my dev tools and see. Let me look at the wrapper. So I have my wrap right here. This is I don't know what's making. Okay. I remember. Oh, I uh, I added some extra spacing over here so I could escape this widget, and that's what's confusing me for now. Let me take it off. All right, then I have everything as it's supposed to be. So let me just bring that back now. I was trying to debug a problem that I created myself. Nobody asked me to. Right, so let me now come back and see for typing area the padding. Let me make it 10 pixels. Right, so that when this is growing, right, so we can have some lines effect over here. Then typing area input when it is focused. I want to give it a border 1px solid main. Actually, I'm going to type in, then boom, then we go. Now, for now, let me take this off so I don't get confused and create if whatever it is that I have planned. All right, so everything is working perfectly fine for us. I could come back here. Let me just make everything look a little better. And give this 400. All right, this is okay. And we have a typing area. We have this. So let me select the so the chat area. Let me see where I have my chat area. I could say display or flex, and then flex direction of column. Then I could say justify content space between. All right. So I was thinking there would be some space here to clear. So we have this, and we are done with this. Should be what we call this. Let me call it. Just click. It takes us back here, and then let me go back to index.html for each of these users. When this is clicked, it should take us to chart.html. So I'm now going to remove everything for now, and this should take us here. We can chat with Daniel Kruger, and when we come back and when we log out, it's supposed to what is the logout button? Logout is supposed to take us to login.html. All right, so we can now log in and come back. Let me go back here, and I did something specifically for the input. Sorry, focus. No, let me go back to chats. Great. So instead of, I think I did this. Let me do this for all inputs. But I think I did this earlier on. Let me go back and see input focus. Okay, so I only took care of the border color. All right, so that is done. Great. Then one thing which we are done with whatever we are supposed to cover on this topic. Then we should include a link. So let me go to login.html. Then under the button, then I have a. Then say so what register, so that anybody who's not having an account would register. Then let me give that a class of what link. Then I could now come back and I've stored anchor elements, right? H so 3D text decoration of none for all. Then when I have the link, I want to give it a color. Oh, sorry, a color of main. Then for the button, let me go back to my login where I was before the button. And then I have a button, definitely give it a margin button, an MB of 20. So this moves away from here. So register. Then back on the register registration page. Let me have, where do I have this? Login page. I have this link to login. Then back on the registration page, I can now say login. Alright, so we can come here and say login.html. Then when we go back to the login, we could say register.html. And let's review whatever we've done. We can now. This is not going to work because we haven't built a backend for it. So we could now just say this, and we are now on our user page. So let me just duplicate a few of those users. So we could now get going. And let's say one user is offline. Actually, this user is offline. And that is it for today's lesson. So I could click and have a chat with Daniel Kroger. I could go back to the main section. And even better still to have a uniform color, we could ignore the green, you know, and use a base color. The status, we could use a base color for silver and main. And it doesn't look bad. It shows this is online, it shows this is offline. This could have we have this here as well. So this is how we uh, managed to get some features to work. I don't know if you have a question so far. Oh, so I actually thought I had the recording on, but I went offline. And good thing is I had my recording on, but then I think most of you guys would have to go back or come on to YouTube here to come and look at it because I didn't realize that my network went off. I didn't realize that at all. So, but basically, we have our chat system working for us, and I would say that is it. When we get to when we do PHP, we'll now build the backend for it and have everything going. Thank you very much, and we're done for today.